Hello, my name is John Sweet and I'm applying for an entry-level accounting position.
Why should we hire you when we have applicants with more experience or more credentials?
Well, I believe that's a good question. I believe what I bring to the table, though, I may not have the experience in a particular accounting field as far as work experience goes, but I do have a lot of work experience in other fields that I believe that could directly contribute to this particular accounting field. As in, for instance, my experience in customer service. I have a pretty strong background in customer service related experience, and I do well communicating with customers, with vendors, any other stakeholders in the company, with other employees. I believe that's an attribute to have that makes me a strong team member, and also it makes me a strong individual. I have the capability of doing both. I can work in a team very well, or I can work on my own very well, and I'm very adaptable in that manner. Also, what I bring to the table too is I'm a very fast learner, and I have a tendency to look at how things are done and not just stop at the how, but more go into the why. Because I believe in order to do my position or my job effectively, I think that you need to understand the why. Because you need to know why your job directly affects others around you and directly impacts the company that you're working for. And I believe if you know the why, you completely understand the why, I believe that you can work to make the how much better, much more efficient, and much more proficient. I'm also a very detail-oriented person. I pay a lot of attention to close details. I don't make a lot of mistakes, and with the mistakes I do, I usually catch pretty fast because I always have a tendency to kind of look over things when I'm doing them to see if I did make a mistake. And I may not have the experience, as per se, in the field of accounting. However, my educational background, I do have experience in accounting, as I've been studying extensive coursework in the field of accounting, especially at my current college I'm attending at University of Houston, Victoria, where I'm actually maintaining a 4.0 GPA. And I feel that I've been able to succeed because I have those core attributes where I pay close attention to detail. Also, I'm very mindful of deadlines and when things are due, and the scheduling of your time in order to meet those deadlines is very important in coursework. And I've also have experience in other fields, like for instance, I was a service dispatcher. So when things come up, you had to prioritize the service call in order to get all your customers taken care of, and there was more emergencies other than others. You had to prioritize the things, and you had to manage your time, and it's very complicated sometimes. And I believe that I have the experience and skills available to me that I'm able to manage time to get deadlines done. So I believe that I'm a good asset with my education as well as my other well-rounded experiences.
Okay. How do you think that you can contribute to this company?
Well, directly contribute right now in the entry-level position. I believe that I'm a very fast learner, and I don't just say that because it's a nice thing to say about myself. I have a proven track record of that. I do very well in a lot of different aspects, a lot of different circumstances, and I succeed and succeed fast. And that's actually been something that I've been able to contribute to the employers I've worked with in the past. I've been able to not only just take over my duties and my position, but also to help out and lending hand in other duties as well, and get more responsibility upon my shoulders because I'm able to handle it. When I usually go into a situation, I try to perfect what I do to the best of my ability, and to do it well and to get it efficient so everything works great. And then if I have time left over, instead of just trying to find, just time wasting activities, I also like to possibly look and see where other ways I can help the company or help out with fellow team workers, or my particular supervisor, and ask them if there's something that they can do, give me that I could, take and do with my time, and kind of help out in that way too. Excuse me. And in the past, this has been something that I've very much focused on, and because of so, I've been able to not only do the position I was hired for, but also to take on other responsibilities, and have been a great asset into the company that I work for.
Tell me about a time when you helped to solve a difficult problem.
Probably one of the times that I remember the most was when I worked for a company called Garvey Products. And at this particular position, I was an account manager. This Garvey Products was a manufacturing company, and what I did is I took care of all the business dealing with the direct distributors who distribute our product. And what we manufactured at Garvey was labels for label guns. In this particular instance, one of the larger companies, one of the larger distributors for the area that I took care of, had called me and it needed a rush order on a custom label. Now, because it was a custom label, we had to do a whole case of those labels, and this is protocol, and the customer knew that, so we went ahead and put a rush through, like the procedures and my company had set up, and so I put a rush through the production. When we went ahead and shipped the labels and the customer received them, they were the incorrect labels. It wasn't exactly what they wanted. It was a different type of label, very similar, but not exactly. And it even was a label that they had ordered in the previous. It just wasn't the right one for this particular customer that they had. So they called and made a fuss, and we had to wind up printing the correct label for them, and we had to basically refund them the money on the cost of that case of labels, so we had to eat that. Now, this wasn't the first time that I personally dealt with it or other teammates had dealt with a situation like this, so I knew there was an issue, and I brought it to my supervisor and asked him, quite frankly, if there was something that we could do that we could implement something or some type of procedure to take some of the risk off of our company with these custom labels. And so we put our heads together and came up with an idea, and we wound up implementing this procedure. And with what we did is, for any custom label, instead of just taking a phone call or taking an order like we normally do, we require a proof where the production foreman would send to me or to another representative the proof of the label that we're going to do, and we would either email it or fax it to them, and return, the distributor would have to sign off and say, yes, that's the right one. And once we received the written proof and signed off on, then we could go ahead and proceed with production. And this was, I believe, was quite helpful in the whole aspect of the company, because this was a problem that we were dealt with in numerous times. And sometimes we just may get it wrong. Sometimes the distributor may get it wrong. And sure enough, this happened probably 3 or 4 months after we implemented the procedure where this came up. And because that customer had signed off on the proof, they wound up having to eat the cost of that case of labels instead of our company. So there was a direct impact of what the procedure that myself and my direct supervisor came up with. And it was definitely noted that this was the win for the company, because moving forward, even though it was maybe another process and things we had to do to get a custom order done, however, it created a benefit for the company where we were no longer responsible solely for any kind of mistakes. It also put the responsibility upon the distributor, and also it also, I noticed, it corrected some of the instances where we would have probably printed the incorrect label, and the distributor said, no, that's not the right one. Can you send us another proof? It's this one. So we've caught quite a few mistakes that we would have issued. So it could have saved our company thousands upon thousands of dollars on the yearly go. So I believe that was a very good situation that I was able to contribute directly to be beneficial for the company. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity and the time together and interviewing for this position. So just wish you well, and thank you very much for your time.